So ever since Ange Postecoglou got sacked after winning Spurs' first trophy in almost 20 years, Thomas Frank was very much the heavy favourite to be moving to the North London club. Frank was the second longest serving manager in the Premier League at Brentford and has very much steadied the ship at the Bees, becoming an established Premier League side despite not playing top flight football in England for about 70 years. Before they were promoted in 2021. Thomas Frank has a real knack of identifying talent and nurturing them through Brentford's academy and also into the first team as well. Something that Tottenham Hotspur will want to replicate, of course. Remember the days of Maurizio Pochettino? Of course, I think that Daniel Levy very much wants to go back to that, having a great youth academy, buying players cheap and cheerful and potentially selling them on for massive profit. But is Frank the right man for Tottenham Hotspur? He's never managed a club of this magnitude before. He's only ever managed Brentford and Brøndby in his native Denmark as well. So is this too much of a step up for him? Is the Champions League going to be too much for him? This kind of size of club, of course, comes with a lot of pressure. But let's have a look at the full story here, guys, because I already gave my opinion on Ange's sacking. I am not in favour of it. I'm still not in favour of it. But if they were going to get somebody, Frank could well be their man. So let's have a look. Here on thefootballchronicle.com, as always, guys. Tottenham Hotspur have named Thomas Frank as their new head coach following the dismissal of Ange Postecoglou. The 51-year-old Dane joined Spurs after a successful 7-year tenure at Brentford, where he guided the club to promotion from the Championship and established them as a competitive Premier League side. In a statement, Spurs said, "In Thomas, we are appointing one of the most progressive and innovative head coaches within the game. He has a proven track record in player and squad development, and we look forward to him leading the team as we prepare for the season ahead." Frank's appointment comes just 16 days after Postecoglou led Spurs to their first major trophy in 17 years, securing the Europa League title with a 1-0 victory over Manchester United in Bilbao. However, Postecoglou's achievement was overshadowed by a dismal Premier League campaign which saw Tottenham finish 17th with 22 defeats, their worst season since being relegated in 1977. During his time at Brentford, Frank transformed the club into an established Premier League team known for their high-intensity, forward-thinking football. In their 4 top-flight seasons under Frank, Brentford finished 13th, 9th, 16th and 10th, with only 4 teams outscoring their 66 goals last term. Frank and his backroom staff have also demonstrated a keen eye for identifying talents, unearthing gems such as Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney, Said Barama and David Raya, who were all later sold for substantial profits. Despite these departures, Brentford remain competitive, with forwards Brian Mbeumo and Yohan Wissa scoring 39 Premier League goals between them last season. Known for his attention to detail, Frank once explained his team's fast start, saying, "We have a kick-off strategy and we tweak it from game to game. And as a mindset and philosophy, we like to get straight on the front foot and be positive." Remember all the goals they scored right at the start of the first and the second half last season? They were absolutely electric out of the blocks. As he takes on the challenge of Tottenham, Frank will need to hit the ground running to win over fans who believed Postecoglou deserved another season after delivering a trophy. The Danish coach will be joined at Spurs by Brentford assistant first team coach Justin Cochran, head of athletic performance Chris Haslam, first team analyst Joe Newton, and Manchester United's Andreas Jorgensen. Or Georgeson? I'm going Jorgensen. Sounds like it should be Jorgensen. As a George, I think that's a York. With Frank at the helm, Tottenham will look to bounce back from a disappointing Premier League season and build on their recent European success. The club supporters will be eager to see if the new head coach can implement his progressive, data-driven approach and elevate Spurs to new heights in the coming years. Here's my kind of take on it. Like I said, for me, I think they should have kept Postecoglou. I really do think that, and I still stick by that. But they've got rid of him now. They can't get him back. He's gone, mate. You know, that's just who they are, mate, as they say. But Thomas Frank, I think, is an excellent manager. I want to see how he does in a top club like this, you know. And again, people will say, "Oh, Tottenham, a top club. What are you talking about? They're crap." Yeah, they were terrible last season, for sure. But in financial terms and in terms of their ambitions, they are absolutely a super club. No doubt whatsoever. They have one of the best stadiums in the world and probably the best stadium in England. They have huge support. They have huge financial resources behind them, albeit they don't use them as much as what people perhaps say they should do. They still got them. You know, there is absolutely no reason why Tottenham should not be in the top 5 every season, you know, getting Champions League football. There is no doubt in my mind whatsoever when it comes to that. So that has to be the aim. The minimum expectation for this season in Tottenham, you know, I'm sure Thomas Frank's already had a chat with Daniel Levy about this. Be competitive in the Champions League, reach the knockout stages, and finish top 5 in the Premier League. You know, you got to be getting Champions League football again. Because top 5 will probably be enough, most likely. It's very rare that it's not these days, I reckon, because the whole coefficient thing in UEFA. So, yeah, I think he's got the potential to succeed. I also think it's a big risk, though. There's always risk in appointing a new manager, always. Frank has never managed a super club, like I said in the intro. He's never managed a club on this scale before, you know, and we can see that when these managers, when these relatively young, because, you know, he's like 51 or whatever it said, but in terms of his managerial experience, he's not that old, really, is he? 51 for a manager. That is relatively young. You know, when you get these managers and you put them into situations they've never been in before, they can sink. You know, it could be David Moyes at Manchester United. I don't think anybody will doubt the credentials of David Moyes. He's an excellent, excellent manager at a midfield Premier League side, at a West Ham and a Everton. Manchester United didn't work. Many reasons why it didn't work, but didn't work. Although on the other side of things, you've got managers like Arne Slot. I mean, yes, obviously he was at Feyenoord, I believe, before. You know, massive club in the Netherlands, don't get me wrong, but in terms of, you know, comparing Feyenoord to Liverpool, it's a massive step up. But he's absolutely done incredible there. So it could be that situation. He'll be very much hoping that he will be rather Slot than Moyes when it comes to getting a top job. And I hope he does well. I wish him every success. I see no reason why he can't do a similar thing to what Poch did and hopefully actually win something. You know, that's the one thing you'd say about Pochettino. He didn't win anything. But can Frank win something? Don't know. He's never been in this position before. Maybe you could argue he was at Brøndby. You know, they're one of the big clubs over in Denmark, but not the biggest. They're not on the level of Copenhagen, are they now? So, yeah, your thoughts are appreciated in the comments below, guys, as always on this one. Spurs fans, are you happy with this appointment? Was it the right call to sack Ange Postecoglou? Do you think the club's made the right call here, especially with appointing Frank now? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, and have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world today, guys, and we'll see you very soon.